What is up, guys? Randomonium here. Doing another patch notes video, 9.8, and you can see that I've actually zoomed in this time. So I definitely do listen to your guys' feedback. So I know a few people couldn't read things when they were on mobile. So here it is, zoomed in. So hopefully it's big enough that everybody can read. This is going to be the MSI patch 9.8, so we can see what's going to be some shakeups in the meta for there. So first up, Amumu. I love me some Amumu buffs. Amumu's one of my favorite champions. He's definitely somebody I recommend for a lot of new players. And the buffs they're giving him is they're going to increase his damage on his passive from 10 to 13%, and they are dropping the cooldown on his bandage toss. They also gave him a quality of life update where he's gonna follow when he casts bandage toss. So basically, he'll be pulled to the champion even if they get out of range. This was a bug that I noticed in quite a few Amumu games. It was very frustrating if you want to try and queue somebody to set up your ultimate, and then if they get outside of a certain range, you just stop going towards them. So this is definitely a very good change. I don't think it's gonna be enough to put Amumu into the pro meta or anything like that. I think that the pro meta is definitely much more focused on very early game junglers, and Amumu has difficulty keeping up as far as his clear speed and also like his mana costs and things like that. But Amumu is definitely still perfectly viable pick for solo queue and especially for flex queue, things like that. He's just phenomenal in attack compositions or anytime you need a lot of CC and tankiness. Camille's getting a base attack speed increase. They're saying that they're going to try and buff her so that she'll be potentially better in the jungle. I don't know if this is going to bring her back into the jungle at all. I can definitely see her still being more of a top laner, but I mean, you know, I think it's a good nudge in the right direction at least. Cassiopeia, so they changed it so her Twin Fangs has reduced mana cost. They had increased her mana cost on her Q and her W a lot, and they did damage nerfs, if I remember correctly, and now they're dropping the mana cost on her E. So it looks like they're trying to force people to go back more towards the E max Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is phenomenally strong. I really like her. I feel like she's kind of at the fringes of the pro meta. She's really good for protect compositions, and I do feel like protect compositions are underutilized in professional play. So I definitely be looking for Cassiopeia in certain matchups at the MSI with the right setup. I definitely think a Cassiopeia with a Jinx or with a Kai'Sa with some beefy people protecting them is a very scary composition. Those two DPS protect compositions can get really, really scary in professional play. So it'd be interesting to see how often she crops up. Fiora getting some buffs. So the stun on the riposte has gone up, damage has gone up, and mana cost for her E has gone down. I don't know if this is enough to bring Fiora back into the meta. It may be, considering that there are a lot of tanks that are getting more prominent, and Fiora is really freaking good against tanks. Yeah, situational pick. Don't think we're going to see her that much in professional play. Definitely, Fiora is one of those champions that I don't like because I like playing a lot of tanky champions, and Fiora is just impossible to deal with. She's just one of the best split pushers, and in a competent hand, she's an absolute terror. So it'll be interesting to see if she makes an appearance as like a counter pick on red side or something like that. Gnar, definitely love me some Gnar. I know a lot of people hate Gnar, but looks like they're going to be reducing the cooldown on his ultimate. Whoa, 30 seconds? At rank 3? Holy cow. That means he can basically, anytime he transforms, he's going to have his ultimate ready to go. Don't know if this is enough to bring Gnar back into the meta, but that's definitely a huge buff for his late game. Going from, it used to be 80 seconds, and now it's 30 seconds. His ultimate is on a 30-second cooldown. That's kind of crazy. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Gnar is very hard to make work in solo queue, but in group play, like 5v5s, flex queue, things like that, he's very strong, and I think that he could potentially see some play for competitive as well for the MSI patch. Jhin has kind of been out of the meta for a while. Looks like they're going to increase his trap duration from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and the trap recharge time is getting less at higher ranks, but it's still the same at rank 1, and usually you max his E last. So this doesn't really affect his early or mid game, only his late game. The trap duration is definitely a nice buff. And then the curtain call, buffing it so it deals up to 4 times damage multiplier based on target's missing health instead of 3.5, so it's going to be much better at sniping off low health targets. Don't know if this is enough to bring him back into the meta, especially considering that I think the tanks are getting much more prominent, and you usually need at least one DPS threat to deal with tanks, and Jhin, his DPS is a little bit lackluster. He's much better at bursting out more squishy targets. Kayle, so it looks like they are nerfing her base stats. I already thought that Kayle was a bit difficult to pull off, especially in professional play. Looks like they're nerfing her even a little bit more, and it looks like they're also doing kind of a stealth nerf to Kleptomancy Kayle, because now her ascensions are based off of her level and skill points. So you can't like sneak it in with that elixir of skill or whatever it was called. So yeah, definitely a nerf to Kayle. I don't know if this might push her completely out of the pro meta. Maybe situationally she could be viable, but it's very hard to make her work since the early game is so important in professional play. Kane's Shadow Assassin cooldown going from 21 seconds now down to 8 seconds. That's huge because you would be maxing E last. Wow, that's a massive buff for Kane in Shadow Assassin form. I know that he definitely has been overshadowed by Rost. Don't think it's gonna be enough to necessarily pull Kane into the professional meta, but that's got a pretty massive buff for Kane in solo queue. It'll be very interesting to see what his play rate and his win rate happen to him in solo queue. Yeah, might have to pick up some Shadow Assassin Kane in some future games. That'll be interesting. Master Yi now ghosted when he's in his ultimate. Yeah, don't think this is really going to impact Yi that much at all. Don't think we'll see him at MSI. That'd be hilarious if we did, though. I think everybody's wishing that'll happen, but I don't think it will. But yeah, Master Yi will continue stomping low elo and certain other games. Nautilus. I love me some Nautilus buffs, because Nautilus is one of my favorite champions. I don't get to play him near as often as I would like, since I mainly play jungle. And yeah, I love Nautilus. He's definitely somebody that I love playing in top lane, love playing support, and I may have to try him out in the jungle because he seems like he's getting a lot more powerful. So the buffs that they gave him this patch, where they're increasing the root duration on his passive, so now his level 1 root duration is equal to what his old level 6 root duration was. So it's basically a 0.25 second buff, so increase in the duration, 0.25 second increase in duration. That's pretty awesome. Nautilus is already, I believe, the champion with the most single target CC in the game. I'm sure you guys will correct me since I'm probably wrong on that, but I think he's definitely up there in like the top 3 at a bare minimum, because he's got his passive, he's got his Q, he's got his E slow, he's got his ultimate. He just has a ridiculous amount of crowd control. And if you slap an Iceborne Gauntlet on him, good luck moving anytime soon. He's just really, really underrated, I feel like. So I definitely think we could see him back in pro play. They also buffed the damage on his Q, so 20 base damage at level 1 goes up to 40 base damage at level 5, and they upped the ability power ratio. I don't think we're going to see AP Nautilus anytime soon, but little bits of ability power that you can get here or there may be useful on him. But yeah, I definitely think we could see Nautilus come back into the professional scene, most likely as a support. And I'm gonna mess around with him and see if I can make him work in the jungle or some other type of crazy stuff. We'll see what happens. Ornn. Ornn's been through a lot of weird changes recently. I mean, he initially just had this really good freaking laning phase, and then they completely changed him, and now he has a really strong late game. And it looks like they're making a lot of his tank items a lot better. So looks like it's going to be health and armor increase on Forge Fire Cape, armor increase on Frozen Fist, and health and magic resist increase on Infernal Mask. Ooh, this could be interesting. I really like, especially the Frozen Fist one. Holy cow, that's 30 extra armor you get. That's juicy. That seems really freaking nice. I definitely think we could see Ornn come back into competitive play. I think that you're always struggling though, is, you know, who do you give the upgraded items to? So it's gonna be very interesting to see with these buffs if tanks get a bit more love on what items they get. Very interesting buffs. Kind of curious to see if we're going to see him in competitive play. All right, Renekton. So base health is up slightly, attack speed growth is up slightly, armor growth is up slightly, healing versus champions on his Q is much higher. Yeah, a lot higher. Very good buffs for Renekton. This could make him pretty terrifying in solo queue, even more terrifying than he already is. Could see him come back into the meta as a situational pick. Going to be interesting though, because Renekton, he does seem to fall off a bit in the late game. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what situations he would be picked up in, what matchups he would be good in. Yeah, he's definitely going to be a terror in solo queue at this patch, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to elevate him into the pro play for MSI. Sejuani. Ooh, more Sejuani buffs. This is great for me. I get Amumu buffs, I get Nautilus buffs, I get Sejuani buffs, Cinderhulk buffs last patch. Yeah, I'm pretty happy right now. My champion pool is looking very nice right now. So W damage ratio increase. Now it's 2% of her max health on the first cast and 6% of her max health on second cast. I'm going to be playing a lot more Sejuani because Sejuani is freaking strong. And yeah, I definitely think that she's going to be seen in pro play a lot on the MSI patch. I do think we're going to see the rise of the Cinderhulk meta and the tank meta more and more. And it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens, because a lot of my champions that I love to play are tanky. It's gonna be very interesting to experiment with a lot of these tanky champions as we get into the mid part of the season. Singe got hurt a lot. He got into a good spot, and then they nerfed the crap out of him. They nerfed the items, and they nerfed a bunch of stuff that was making him good. Looks like they're finally giving him some love a little bit more. So health regen is up, slow is up on his W, fling mana cost is down. Don't think it's going to be enough to bring him back into the professional scene, but hopefully the few Singe mains who are out there will enjoy this buff. I don't really know what else they need to do to get him back into the meta. I feel like the things that make Singed really unique is kind of his speed and his elusiveness, and his annoyance factor and his ability to split push and have objective control, and then kind of pop out of nowhere and turn a team fight in his favor. So it'd be interesting to see if they can kind of let players indulge in that fantasy a little bit more. Trundle buffs. Yeah, this is another champion. I love playing Trundle. He definitely took a pretty massive hit. It looks like they're giving him some more damage on his chomp, and his subjugate cooldown has been decreased by 10 seconds. The additional damage on his chomp doesn't look like it's going to kick online until he starts really maxing it out. So that's going to be like level 9. He did get a buff to his attack speed with his W last patch, if I remember correctly. So potentially you could see Trundle come back into the meta. I don't think he's going to be like super powerful or anything like that, but definitely some welcome buffs to Trundle. I know he's been struggling a bit recently, so I definitely think this is a good buff. Zed, Q damage decrease, W increase. So yep, looks like they said that they overtuned him a little bit. Sounds like they're really kind of balancing him on that shuriken's edge right now. We did see Zed a little bit in professional play. I don't know if we're gonna see him after these nerfs, maybe very situationally. But yeah, I do love seeing assassins in professional play. Show off a lot of the high skill cap champions, the skirmishers, the assassins, those types. So yeah, not happy to see that Zed getting nerfed here, because I wasn't looking forward to seeing him and LeBlanc and all those other assassins, you know, Aurelia, Akali, those champions in professional play. Builds with a Cutlass, cost increased slightly. Same with Blade of the Rune King. Yeah, it looks like Builds with a Cutlass and Blade of the Rune King were just a little bit too stat efficient for a lot of champions. Gunblade, they dropped the combined cost so that the total cost is still the same. Bramble Vest, Grievous Wound duration increased to 3 seconds from 1 second. So this hurts Fiora pretty badly. It hurts other top laners who rely a lot on sustain. So it actually would hurt like Renekton and a few other champions in top lane, Aurelia. Yeah, it kind of counters a lot of the Wits End users that we see popping up. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I think this only strengthens the tank meta even more. Yeah, tank meta is definitely gonna be back. If it's not already back, it's gonna be back within a couple patches. Cinderhulk looks like they changed the tooltip, but they didn't actually apply the change. Whoopsie. So yep, so now your Cinderhulk junglers are gonna be even stronger right in time for MSI. So yeah, Cinderhulk meta I think is back. And Stormrazor, they're gonna make it more efficient. So energized effects increase to 35%, and the slow decays over 1.5 seconds now instead of 1 second. I don't know if this is enough gonna be for anybody else to pick it up besides Kai'Sa. Yeah, not sure. I think that it's just really hard to work Stormrazor into your build, given what it gives you right now. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they make Stormrazor a little bit more viable of an item. And then yep, so they're increasing the duration of Thornmail, Grievous Wounds to match Bramble Vest. Coup de Grace, they taken away the adaptive force. Okay, so that's gonna make Coup de Grace not as good. But they looked like they're buffing it from 7 to 8% damage. I think Coup de Grace is still going to be pretty damn good on most champions. ARAM changes. I actually was enjoying ARAM a lot with the new stuff that they had. Butcher's Bridge was really fun. Looks like they're taking away some of the items. Backtrack is disappearing. Bans are going away. That I don't like that. I like the bans. I like this though. The minion waves rates are going to increase. Minions gain more movement speed, and champions are going to do more damage, so we can get through the game faster. Poke reduction range, and looks like they got some balance changes that I don't care too much about. I mean, I'll still play some ARAM when I'm just chilling, things like that. But bug fixes. Yeah, I love this Diana bug was interesting. Looks like they fixed that. That was one of the things that was making Diana a little bit better than she probably should be. I think Diana needs some love though, so hopefully maybe they'll give her a buff in the future to compensate for this. And then the skins. Galaxy Slayer Z. Whoa, I can't even see that. That's freaking huge. Sorry about that. Guess I have to scroll over or just zoom out a little bit so you guys can actually see it. All right, that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's a nice skin. I like that skin. And Prestige Evelyn. Yeah, I like it. Prestige skins still are just ridiculously expensive. And I freaking love the Invictus skins. They look so cool. Yeah, these are definitely my favorite world champion skins that I've seen. Fortunately, I don't play a lot of the champions. But yeah, still very cool and very interested to see what they're going to do in the future for these world champion skins, because it seems like they're putting a lot more effort into these skins, and that's very exciting because it's very cool to have, you know, to be able to support teams and to support players with these type of skin. So yep, that's the patch 9.8 in a nutshell. Tank meta's back. Looking forward to it. Definitely buffs my champion pool. You might see me on some interesting picks in the future. Some interesting tanks in the jungle. We'll have to see what happens. But if you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up. And any questions, or if you think I got something wrong, or if you want to discuss it any further, yeah, leave a comment or check me out in Discord. Link is in the description. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. This is Randomonium, signing off.